the wax from her left ear. So her ear canal entrance is quite narrow, and you can see a bit of cilia there. So cilia is when you have, it's the hair that's located in the ear canal. And the consistency of the wax, it's a bit of a dry but sticky consistency, and I'm using a standard Zollner suction probe here. And I've decided to try and grip the wax at the base of the ear canal, where the skin is attached to the wax. And I'm just making concentric circles, wriggling the wax to loosen that skin adhesion, which is kind of almost holding that wax in. It doesn't want to let go and release it. And when the wax is a bit sticky like this, it's sometimes a bit tricky to get a good suction grip. So it is a bit of perseverance. And you can see on the posterior canal wall there, you can see the skin detaching and the wax coming loose. The wax is quite lateral, so it's near the ear canal entrance, and I've decided here to put the Zollner suction probe a bit further into the ear, so where the wax has a better consistency for me to get a suction grip. So I've just come out there, and you can see there's a bit of hair matted to the wax, which always makes it a bit more tricky. And I think I've got a suction grip here, an adequate one at least, and as I'm removing the wax, I'm bringing away the camera, and there we are. So that's the first major piece of wax. What I've done here, I've actually attached a fine end gauge onto the suction probe, and the reason for that is that this remaining bit of debris in the ear, it's not actually earwax, it's keratin, so dead skin. The problem with keratin is when you suction keratin, you can get a clarinetting, which is a very loud, audible, high-frequency squeal, and it's almost deafening. What I find is when you attach a fine end gauge, it reduces that clarinetting, so it's more comfortable for the patient. However, even with the fine end, it wasn't really removing that keratin, so I resorted to some crocodile forceps to gently peel that keratin off the canal wall. We do have to be a bit careful because you can get a bit of blistering. In most patients, I would just leave that keratin, but with this particular client, because she is a hearing aid wearer and she has narrow ear canals, it's important for me to try and remove as much of wax and keratin from her ear, as if I don't, it can quite easily block her hearing aid, so it's preventing her from hearing, and also cause the hearing aid to feedback. Feedback is when sound that is amplified into the ear through the hearing aid reflects back out the ear canal, and then it causes the sound to re-enter the microphone and re-amplify the sound, and that vicious cycle goes on and on and on, and it's often called a feedback loop, and it causes the hearing aid to squeal and whistle, and again it's very debilitating, not only for the patients but those people around them, because they can also hear that kind of distracting whistling sound coming from the ear. So I finished the left ear, her eardrum was very healthy, intact, and I'm now doing her second right ear. And I would say here there wasn't really much wax, it's again dead skin, keratin, and I would have said it's semi-occluding, so it wasn't fully occluding the ear canal. For most people, having this amount of keratin in the ear wouldn't lead to any symptoms. But as I mentioned, she is a hearing aid wearer, and in these circumstances I try and remove as much debris, dead skin, earwax from the ear canal so it doesn't impede with their hearing aid. I started off again with a fine end gauge. As I mentioned, you want to avoid using a standard Zollner suction probe when you've got keratin, because it can lead to clarinetting, which is that very loud, uncomfortable, high frequency squeal. It did loosen the keratin slightly, but I've resorted to some crocodile forceps. You can actually see how narrow her ear canal is, and you've got a bit of cilia there again, which is obstructing the view somewhat, but I can see enough of the keratin to safely remove that. At this stage, I would say that I've removed the blockage, but there is a bit of a layer of keratin at the base of the ear canal. And again, I'm just using this Zollner suction probe here to try and release that, loosen it, before going back in with some crocodile forceps. The location of this dead keratin, so again it's quite lateral, so it's near the ear canal entrance. If it was a bit further in the ear canal, so if it's more medial, I may have just decided to leave it because that part of the ear canal is very sensitive. unlike the outer part of the ear canal, which is made up of cartilage, the inner 2/3 is literally skin on bone. There's no fatty tissue there, so it is very sensitive. And you can see there's a bit of hair strand that I've managed to suction there, so hopefully that will come out when I remove. Yeah, there we are. So again, just trying to be as cautious as I can. I want to avoid any blistering, and because we're making contact with the ear canal wall, I don't want to abrase it or cut into the ear canal and cause unnecessary bleeding. And I think this is the last bit of skin really that I do want to remove. That skin in time would naturally migrate, and as it comes out it will expel itself from the ear canal naturally, but as mentioned, this client is a hearing aid wearer, and I just want to avoid any debris as it migrates out of the ear, occluding and blocking the hearing aid, thus preventing any sound from entering the ear and arriving at the eardrum. And there's just a little bit more dead keratin right at the entrance, and I'll use some crocodile forceps there, and a little bit of dead keratin left, just kind of midpoint in the ear canal, which I believe I'm going to go back in. Yeah, there we are with the crocodile forceps. Again, the hair is slightly impeding the view, but unfortunately some patients have got very narrow ears, and it can be quite difficult to work inside, especially if they have got hair. And it's something that with experience and practice you can navigate and mitigate. For the last bit, again, this is the posterior canal wall. So when we say posterior, it means the back part of the ear canal, and it's near the entrance. And I'm just now using a Jobson horn to see if I can gently. I don't like using the word scrape, but I can't think of any other better way of explaining what I'm doing. But it's a gentle kind of grazing of the skin, just to remove that remaining debris. Sometimes less is more. We want to avoid overworking the ear because it can cause bruising and blistering of the ear canal. And again, in this case, I'm very pleased with the amount of wax and dead keratin I've removed. The ear canal's clear, and the eardrum again is healthy and intact. So again, thank you for watching. If this is one of the first times you've watched one of my videos and you're not a subscriber already, please do subscribe and select the notification icon, the bell, so you will be alerted as and when I publish new videos. I hope everyone is keeping well and safe, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.